Class. It's time for our Bible lesson for pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade. We're going to play a game today using what we've learned about Ruth and Naomi. What you need is a dice, and you can play this by yourself, but it would be way more fun to play with a friend. And so that's why Mrs. Kelly's going to play with us today. And here's what I noticed. I was getting this game ready, and I thought because there's 6 numbers on a dice that there would be 6 pieces to play. But count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 pieces to play. So that made me notice that there are 2 number 3s and 2 number 4s. That way we can play the game a little bit longer. Here's the directions. It says roll the dice, read the question, glue the correct answer next to the question. Continue until you have answered every question. I'm choosing just to tape mine down because I'll save this for another time, but you can certainly glue yours down. And we're going to let Mrs. Kelly go first. Number 5, Mrs. Kelly. The question is, where did Naomi and Ruth decide to go?
They went back to her land, Israel.
Yeah, so that was interesting to me too, because they were, Ruth and Orpah were Moabites, right? And so Naomi and Ruth actually went back to Bethlehem, but they were from Moab. And I think that might have been a typo. I think they made a mistake when they made the game, but I think they probably mean, where was Ruth from?
Oh, yes, I would say that because there's nothing that says they went back to Bethlehem.
I know. Wasn't that confusing, Mrs.
That was
Kelly?
confusing. I did hit a good one, didn't I?
You did. You did a great one. So you can put that over here, Mrs. Kelly, by the number 5. Now there's only one number 5. So that means if I roll a 5, I'll just roll again. A number 2. Looking for a number 2. Oh, it's way at the bottom. What does the word respect mean? Oh, we've been learning about that all week, right? It means to treat others the way that you want to be treated. So if I want somebody to be kind to me, I should be kind to them. And you know, boys and girls, often we try to do the opposite. We try to treat people the way they treat us instead of how we would like to be treated. So respect means to treat people the way we would like to be treated. All right, Mrs. Kelly, your turn. 3. Oh, you have choices. How did Naomi know Ruth? Or why did Ruth go to the rich man's field?
Ruth went to the rich man's field to glean his leftover grain that fell.
You are right, Mrs. Kelly, right there. And glean means to pick up the leftovers. Yeah. Here we go. A number 5. Oh, we've already done 5. I'll give it another roll. How about a 4? I have 2 choices. What was the rich man's name? Or what did Ruth name her son? Well, since we just talked about the rich man's field, I'll tell you that his name was Boaz. Okay, your turn, Mrs. Kelly. 6 is good. What did Naomi tell Ruth to ask Boaz? Do you remember?
Oh, that's tricky because you don't usually think the girl to ask if he would marry her.
Yeah, isn't that so funny? That's a very unusual thing. But because the way Bible families were structured in this situation, it made sense for Ruth to ask Boaz if he would redeem her and marry her. Okay, so I'm hoping for a 3, a 1, or a 4. A 3, a 1, or a 4. I've got a 3. How did Naomi know Ruth? Well, if you remember right, Ruth married Naomi's son, which means Naomi was her mother-in-law. Ruth was married to her son. All right, a 1 or a 4, Mrs. Kelly? Keep trying.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, you can do it, Mrs. Kelly. A
One.
1. Why was the rich man kind to Ruth?
Because Ruth had been kind to the mother-in-law or her mother-in-law,
Mm-hmm. Isn't that
to
so
Naomi.
cool? Yeah, that's so cool. There you go, Mrs. Kelly. It's so cool that kindness has a ripple effect. When we're
Yes.
kind, others are often kind, aren't they? Well, we know I have to roll a 4, right? There
There
it
it
is.
is.
What did Ruth name her son? And this is a good one to have for the end because it is kind of the end of this part of that story. Obed. Ruth named her son Obed. All right, boys and girls, you have fun playing that game with somebody in your family.